Hey everybody, so I thought I would jump on here quick and make a quick video for the Roma Army folks that are coming over to my page to just troll me and talk a bunch of smack. Fair enough, it's the internet, right? But I don't think you guys are familiar with this side of the internet, meaning the non-gooner side of the internet. I think you've got this whole situation wrong. So let me just explain, because people are like, why are you coming for Roma? You should agree with her. No, no, and I'll explain why. So, first of all, she was in this big spat on Instagram with my friend, Marte, who did want to debate her. I think he saw her on whatever and disagreed with her on some things. He wanted to debate her. He kind of called her out for that. She told not only him, but also Sarah from the Raging Tomato, a great debate platform on YouTube. Look it up. Lots of great debates over there. Sarah's a great mod. She's very fair. Told them that she wanted $800 to debate him. And they both laughed at her because that's not how you do things on this normal side of the internet where everything's not about like selling your titties or whatever it is that she's used to. So they were fighting back and forth. And I jumped in just to say I thought it was really shitty for somebody who claims to be the premier men's rights advocate to be making fun of Marte and saying, oh, you just don't like me because you can't get laid, which is a classic feminist move, right? What do feminists always do when they want to insult a man? You have a small penis, you can't get laid, you just want to fuck me. Those are the three things that they always say. She was just doing her normal feminist thing. I called her out on that. I said, I don't think she's a good representation of like being an anti-feminist whatsoever. I'll get into the details on that in a minute. I think she behaves like a feminist because she is a feminist. Now, you guys might think, but Rachel, she claims to be against feminism, so she can't be a feminist. She's the men's rights champion. Well, first of all, let me just tell you, in her Twitter bio, which she has now removed, it said she was pro-LGBT, trans inclusive, and pro-choice. So this woman supports abortion. She supports same-sex relationships, and she supports transgender identification. How are you going to advocate for men's rights if you don't even know what a man is? That's like just a very simple baseline. If you think that women can be men and men can be women, you cannot advocate for men's rights. You're already on the wrong side. She openly calls herself a liberal. Now she's like, well, but in the last election, I voted conservative. That doesn't matter. First of all, you're in Canada. All you have is left and further left. That's number one. But two, all her positions are extreme social progressive positions. So if you guys don't know about me, I'll just quickly explain who I am and what I do on the internet. First of all of you simps in my comments saying, Roma's hotter than you. Congratulations, give her a prize. I will let her take the hotter than me prize because that's not why I'm here. I'm not here to be sexual. I'm not here to show people my body or to get men to pay to sexualize me. That's not why I'm here. I'm a married woman, been married a really long time. She's talking a lot of shit about my personal life, even though I DM'd her to say, let's not do that. Let's not be personal. I want to debate you on the issues because we disagree. People think we're on the same side. I don't. Let's debate the things we disagree on and see who comes out on top. Not only did she not take that challenge, she wouldn't take that Pepsi challenge. She refused to reply to me. I went to Brian from whatever. I went to Sarah from the Raging Tomato, asking them if they could reach out, get her to do a debate with me. They both said, sure. They both said, no, she wants to debate Andrew. He's got a bigger following. She wants the clout. He's the kind of like premier recurring male guest on whatever. She wants the debate with him. I said, fine. Andrew will destroy her every bit as bad as I will. Not a problem. Then she goes on and starts lying to you guys. I don't know if you guys just believe everything this woman says, but she says, I'm the one who turned down the debate or I'm the one scared to debate her. No. First of all, what I do online primarily is do debates. I have dozens, if not maybe, 100 or more debates under my belt. I've been doing this for years. They're all over YouTube. They're all over other platforms. If you Google Rachel Wilson debates, you're going to find stuff. I'm doing a headline debate for DebateCon this year in person. I'm doing a surrounded. I've done one for them already. So I'm like a seasoned debater. I'm trained in philosophy, logic, argumentation. not aware of many women who are better debaters than I am. I'm just going to be honest. I've been looking for them. I've been searching for them. I've tried to debate other women, and generally women aren't interested in debate. They're conflict avoidant. They don't want to do it. Roma's not conflict avoidant. She loves to talk shit. She loves to go to war. I thought she'd want to debate. She doesn't want to do that. She wants to talk shit because she knows she cannot hold a candle to me in an actual debate where we're going to get into the intellectual issues, where you're going to have to demonstrate that your worldview is logically coherent and cohesive, because she can't. Why can't she? Because you cannot claim to be anti-feminist and be a liberal progressive. So my book, my best-selling book, Occult Feminism, The Secret History of Women's Liberation, is about this very thing. I've also written multiple articles, essays, speeches that I've delivered at theological seminaries, at universities. These are well-cited, academically accepted. One is published in an academic journal. This is what I do. I have to back up everything I say because I want to be taken seriously. What I'm trying to do is show that the history we've been taught about feminism and women's liberation movements is lies that are told. It's information gatekept by gender studies departments at the big universities, and that the feminists in these fields have whitewashed the history, told you a bunch of things about it that are not true to justify feminism. And I get super in depth on that. There's not many people in the world who have read as much of that literature as I have. I go straight to the source, primary sources, going back to the 1500s, to the very first feminists that you can find around the world, and their writings and what they say feminism is about, what they say about why they want it, how it came to be, and it's not the story you've been told. So my whole purpose for being online, doing all my writing, doing all my speaking, is to debunk these lies, to correct the historical record, and to also go over, like, what have the results been of feminism? What have we gotten from it? Has it done what it promised to do in helping to protect women and give them a better life? And the answer is no. I know my facts. I know my stats. I know Roma knows some of those things too. She likes to pay a lot of lip service to, like, the suffering that males go through, the things about men that are misrepresented or misunderstood, how they get screwed in family court. There's a lot of people that do that, though. Pearl Davis does a great job at that. Rollo Tomasi is somebody who is very well respected writing about these topics. There's a lot of people who can do that. You do not need some lady who is selling nudes, and I don't know if she is now, but she certainly built her following on that, okay? It's just the facts of it. She did that. We don't need her with her liberal progressive agenda. She can't even tell you what a man is. She's for baby murder. She's pro-infant murder, and I know that a lot of you who follow her probably are too. I'm not. I want to debate that stuff. I don't want some woman out here claiming not to be a feminist, and then every view she holds is a pillar of feminism. Progressivism, right? Feminism is like the Pandora's box of progressivism. They couldn't have left-wing liberal progressivism. You couldn't screw over men the way that you have. You couldn't throw off the balance of power the way that it's been without progressives. It's a progressive agenda. The feminist movement was funded by Gilded Age progressive industrialists, okay? So she is in contradiction in her worldview, in what she says, in how she presents herself, and I think she's a terrible representative, and I want to defeat her ideas. That's why I'm on the internet. I debate men on this, I debate women on this, because most people are not actually educated on the history of it. They don't know all the facts. They don't have a coherent worldview from which to break down these talking points that feminists have. If you're pro-choice and you think a woman can be a man, how can you advocate for men's rights? How can you say men and women are different? Beyond that, if you're not a patriarchist, meaning patriarchy just means rule by the father. It means that men ultimately have the final authority in society. If you've ever heard my husband Andrew argue force doctrine, he's explaining to you why that is the case, and it's inescapable. There's no such thing as women's rights unless men are willing to guarantee those rights using the monopoly on force that they have. Women cannot do that on their own. Women can't come out and declare what their rights are and defend those rights if men say no. It's literally not possible. It's never been done in the history of the world, and it never will be done because men will always have the monopoly on force. Not saying that means they should do anything. I'm saying that is the case. So where do we go from there? Well, then you have to realize that this idea that men and women are equal, and she's an egalitarian. Roma thinks that, women should be liberated, we can just all be liberated. We can all just do what we want as long as we don't hurt anybody else. This classical liberal idea that falls flat on its face as soon as it meets the real world. And that's what I wanted to debate with her, because she's wrong and she cannot and has not moved the needle on this problem because of the fact that she has an incoherent, incorrect worldview that she tries to argue from. So you can cite stats and facts all day about veterans and suicide and men's depression and family courts. Fine, fair enough. I have no problem with that, but it doesn't get you anywhere. It's not going to help, because if you want to tackle this problem, you have to get people to understand that this whole progressive agenda led by the feminist movement, this idea that everyone's equal, we're all the same, men and women are the same, you can just interchange them, we all have these rights, women have inalienable inherent rights, and so do men, and we'll just all be the same. That is a fantasy. It is a fiction. It is a failed experiment. It will end because it can't be sustained. If you just take a look at the birth rates, you'll find there's no way to sustain this concept of feminism. We've had 100 years of women's liberation, and men still do over 90% of all the dirty, dangerous, difficult jobs. All the infrastructure jobs, everything in this technologically advanced world that makes women think they're equal with men is still propped up by men. And the minute men realize, wait, we don't have to guarantee these rights. We don't have to tell women they can do everything a man can do. We don't have to give them all the DEI stuff. This is all propped up. It's a giant house of cards. It's about to fall. And the way that we push it over the edge and end the insanity is to demonstrate this to people through and fight the ideological war. We beat down the gender studies departments. We take back the universities from the liberals. We take back the media. We overcome their bad propaganda with the truth. We disseminate the truth out of those lies. You cannot do that from a progressive standpoint, because she's going to, this is why I wanted to debate her. When I press her, and you'll find this when Andrew does it too, she's going to have to double down on her progressive worldview, her liberal foundations that all her ideas are built on, and she's going to find that from that foundation, you cannot argue against feminism. In fact, you have to support it because it's a fundamental pillar of liberalism. The liberal movement coming out of the Enlightenment, what was the motto? Liberty, equality, fraternity. Okay, feminism is a fundamental pillar of liberalism, and vice versa. You can't have one and not the other. She wants to have her cake and eat it too, and that doesn't work. So that was my motivation. That's why I wanted to have an intellectual debate about ideas, about the issues, and this bitch went crazy and started attacking me. Obviously, it's so obvious, calling me a dog, making the little box with the little stuff. You know what I thought about doing? I thought about putting on my biker jacket and putting in a little like fake nose ring and drawing a bunch of shitty, ugly tattoos all over my neck and coming on here being all hard like Roma, be like, hey, bitch, I'm a former gangbanger. Oh, you should be scared of me, ho. I'm gonna come for you, ho. But it wouldn't work. I mean, it would be funny to see me looking like how I look, it would be funny. I also just don't have the energy for it. I'm too busy with other things, but it would have been funny. But she can pretend, she can put on this tough girl persona. She can act like we're supposed to be impressed that she used to be a gangbanger and do porn, and now she has a college degree, which, by the way, all you need to get a degree in Canada with straight A's is pay them money and show the fuck up. Not impressed. Don't care. I will come any day with nothing but a high school diploma and beat her ass on anything intellectual. She's not even capable of paradigm level thinking. She doesn't have any background in logic or philosophy. I know this because her worldview and her positions are incoherent. I can demonstrate it. I can tear it to pieces. And I want to do that for her audience so that you guys can see, oh shit, yeah, this doesn't work. This will get nowhere. We will not be any better off in 100 years if we all followed Roma and became little soldiers in her Roma army than we would if we maybe listened to Andrew and Rachel and the way that they debate these things and the way that they tackle these arguments, because it actually works. It gives us a cohesive, foundational worldview from which to oppose these wicked, evil things. Now, if you're a Coomer and all you want to do is buy her porn and you want to be able to tell your girlfriend she needs to go get an abortion because you don't feel like raising a baby, you're not going to like me. You're not. If you want to be told that being a gooner is perfectly fine and we're sex positive and you can just abort the babies, and hey, if you want to be a man, just take some testosterone and you can become a man. And hey, if you want to become a lady, just chop your dick off and become a lady. If you want to follow that shit, go back to her page because you will not like it here. But everybody seems to not know what's happening, and she's lying about it a lot. So I wanted to make a quick video just explaining where I'm coming from, what my position is on things, why I challenged her to a debate, and yeah, just let you know that she's full of shit. And she's very clearly trying to rage bait Andrew and get him to emotionally react. It won't work because people do that every day. People lie about me. They talk shit about me. They totally misrepresent me, make me sound like some kind of hoe with a high body count, which is not true. And they just tell lies, and they listen to gossip and lies, and they just repeat it. And that's what she's doing in order to try to get a rise out of Andrew. He hears that shit every single day. We just laugh. We totally ignore it. She's going to try to come to the debate with that. He's going to say, yeah, okay, and then he's going to get to the actual debate, and then she's going to be screwed. And her debate career is going to be the shortest one you've ever seen. So that's all I wanted to say. If you've come here to tell me I'm not as hot as her, if you want to go buy pictures of her titties, go back to her Instagram and do that. Knock yourself out. Enjoy. Have a great time. If you're actually interested in these ideas, in these issues and real solutions, and how do we win this ideological war against people who do think that, you know, the problem is toxic masculinity and we need to make women the head of everything and we need to feminize the world and we need to treat little boys like they're little girls and all this other stuff. We're going to trans all the kids. If you want to do that, go do that. But I'm going to be out here destroying these ideas because that's why I'm here. So nice to meet you. Great introduction. Hope that a few of you decide, oh, wait, maybe this lady's not just some stupid, awful, mean lady who's attacking my precious Woma. No, I'm attacking her ideas. She's attacking me. I'm attacking her ideas. I think her ideas are garbage. I don't know who she is. I don't know anything about her life. I don't know anything about her past. Don't care. Doesn't matter to me whatsoever. I do think that being a pornographer is a problem. It's an ethical problem, and I think it puts you in a compromising position when you're trying to argue these things because you're exploiting men by doing that. We all know what porn does. We all know that it's harmful. I'm against it. I've argued against it. I think it should be illegal. I don't think it should even be available for purchase. Again, if you're a classical liberal, you're not going to like that because you're going to say, I'm not hurting anybody else, but you are. And I could argue that too. So that's the gist of it. That's why I'm here. That's what I'm doing. If you're looking for hot chicks, not going to find it here. I'm a 45-year-old mom of 5, not here to be hot. Kind of obvious. I'm just a very normal, average-looking lady. So I do like to talk about homeschooling, and I like to talk about, you know, the Enlightenment and how it sucks. I like to talk about feminism and how it's a lie. So if you're down for that kind of stuff, then stick around. Otherwise, you know where to go for the other stuff. It's all over the internet, and you can enjoy it elsewhere. But thanks for listening.